Hi all, how you doing? Hope you're doing great wherever you are in the world. Okay, so I've watched this Blockdag AMA 3. I didn't watch it live. Okay, so I've watched a recording of it. So I've watched this so you don't have to. It's one of the most boring AMAs I've ever watched in my life. And maybe it was designed in that way because it's such a turn off, okay? I think I fell asleep nearly about 5 times, okay? I think my wife woke me up at one point and say she was shouting at me, "John, are you falling asleep there?" I go, like this kind of thing. And yeah, I was. Okay. It was terrible. It's so boring. Um, anyway, so I just want to go over some of the key points if I can remember them all. There weren't that many key points. I mean, the most important one, I guess, was very early on when Anthony Turner was saying how they were going to go back to bespoke miners rather than off-the-shelf generic miners. So they're going to go back to the plan of mining uh, Blockdag tokens on bespoke miners rather than off-the-shelf miners. Although what he did say was that there was no way that they could mine Bitcoin as well. So they were just going to mine Blockdag, BDAG, and that was it. Okay, so that was kind of um, I think they were basically doing that to go back to not breaking any people's promises because they did say they were going to mine, they were going to use miners which were bespoke and stuff. Um, so that was one of the things that came out of it. He then introduced this guy called Jeremy Harkness, who's only been with the company for about a month, and he was really boring. He was basically reading off a screen. I mean, they were pretty much all reading off a screen. But this guy more so than the others, let's say, he wasn't adding anything. And if he messed up on a line, he would just sort of go back and reread it again, kind of thing. And he wasn't adding anything to it. I mean, I use PowerPoints, and I'm sure lots of you use PowerPoints, and you don't just go through it and read through each line. You sort of add other tidbits yourself. Uh, you know, the PowerPoint points are really just there to guide you and help you keep where you are and make sure you cover all the points, all right, as in PowerPoints, right? But then you're supposed to add on little bits of intricacies yourself, or little bits of extra knowledge, okay, that aren't really in the slides, okay? But they don't do that, okay? They just sort of read from the slide and that is it. And to me, that kind of says that maybe these guys aren't really behind this project. I mean, you'd have thought this new guy, Morris, not Morris, this Jeremy Harkness guy would sort of be more enthusiastic and really get into it. He's only been there for about a month. He should be enthusiastic. If he's been employed by these people, you'd want them to be enthusiastic and get your point across and explain it in an exciting, enticing way, kind of thing. But no, dull as ditch water, really, really bland. Okay, so to me. I get the feeling that these guys are just, I can't believe that these guys are running the show. Okay. I feel like someone else is behind them and these are just faces and they're just sort of paid to cover the bases and make it look somewhat professional. Okay. Um, maybe I'm wrong, okay, but that's the way it feels. It feels like they're not behind this project. If you watch a proper CEO of a company who created it, they're energetic. They're enthused by the project, okay, because it's their project, it's their baby, and they want to talk about it in a positive light and an exciting light. But these guys are bored. It's just like a job to them. So that's why it just doesn't feel. It feels off. It feels something not quite right about it. All right. So that was the other thing that I got from it. All right. Now what was the other points I wanted to make? Yeah, so reading off a screen. Yeah, Jeremy Hartness, this new guy. He says if you look at his CV kind of thing on LinkedIn, and also maybe I think it mentions it here. So he's got these other projects that he's been with, it's very difficult to sort of look up, that he's actually done these things. And also, it feels very word salady, a lot of the stuff. I mean, I'm not, I mean, maybe these jobs are like that, these top jobs where they are very word salady. There's lots of stuff in there. Um, Not for us mere mortals, but it just feels like a lot of big words where small ones will do. That's how I can put it, really. It just sounds convoluted. Okay. That's how I feel about this kind of projects. A lot of it's just convoluted, sort of AI kind of generated kind of paragraphs and that kind of thing. That's how it feels to me. I don't know anyone else, thinks it's all sensible, it all makes sense, but it just sounds like a load of BS to me. Um, Now, what was the other point I wanted to mention? So Jeremy is very difficult, I think, to sort of prove or disprove that he's been with these companies. Um, Now, the other thing, this Stephen Clark guy, I think he was called, he spoke a little bit, didn't really say anything important, didn't really add much to it as far as I could see. Again, it is really dull, so it's very difficult to follow along because I was basically falling asleep, and I can't imagine anyone else who's watching this was then entertained by this. I mean, I know you're not supposed to be entertained necessarily, but make it bearable to watch. It was awful. Okay, absolutely terrible. So he didn't really add anything to it. They did some questions later on, and people were asking about Maurice Hurley, why isn't he on the thing? And Anthony basically said that he was doing a lecture at the time, so he couldn't be on the AMA, which is just ridiculous. He did mention, oh, maybe they'll do a recording of him going over the technical specs or something like that. Because they didn't really mention the miners either. They said, oh, we'll gloss over that bit. We're not going to, we don't want to bore you to death with the miners or whatever, almost. It was like an apology for that kind of thing. So, but what I don't get is, if you've got this Morris guy who's, the technical, one of the technical guys behind this, why don't you do it on a day that is available? I mean, it's not that difficult to, have an hour or 2 hours set aside where he can actually talk about these miners and show his face. People want to see him on video, okay, and talking about this Blockdag that he's supposed to be um, an advisor for, okay, or part of the team. And he never showed up, and he didn't show up at the other one. So it just sounds like BS to me. That they're always thinking getting an excuse of why this Morris can't turn up. That's the way it seems to me anyway. So I don't believe that this team, I don't think it's their project personally, because like I said, they'd be more enthused about it. They just seem really bored with the whole thing. Um, but having said all of that, is it a scam? I mean, I've said in the past that I think this is a scam, but they're going to raise so much money. Oh, and that's the other thing. They said that they were going to keep going until they raise $600 million, so which could take until 2028 at least, I would say. So they're not going to release any coins until then. So they don't have to do anything until then. That means I mean, they could actually create a proper project from this. Because with $600 million, you can do anything pretty much. So this is why I'm thinking, well, maybe this isn't going to be a scam any longer because they could actually buy all these miners. They could actually mine this BDAG coin. They could have a network because $600 million can easily pay for all of that. You get some people from wherever, some cheap labor, technical labor to do all of this stuff and pull this thing off. The other thing is, let's say I mean, they've got 120 million now. if they if they bought Bitcoin with it, let's say, I mean, I haven't looked on chain and stuff like that of what they've potentially done with this. I can't imagine it's just all sat in a wallet doing nothing, but maybe someone else can say me, oh yeah, actually it is. I mean, in theory, I don't think they should be able to do anything with it. Okay, but if if they were to buy, say, Bitcoin with it from a while ago, it was like 60,000. Now it's 90,000. You've just gained 50%. You can effectively take this 120 million that they've raised, and that could be worth 180 million just by buying Bitcoin at 60 million. I mean, in another 3 months, Bitcoin's probably going to be, 120,000. So if they buy it now at 90,000, that's another 25% into their coffers. So they could produce a project which actually does what it says on the tin. They won't get sued or anything for it if they actually, deliver miners that actually mine Blockdag, and they can still walk away with a ton of money from the price of crypto going up, basically. Um, Also, if it starts going down, they can say, "Oh, well, the money that you gave to us, it's now gone down in value anyway." So they can also say that if they want to, because obviously they're not going to buy these miners until the last minute. There's no point in buying these miners until they've raised all the $600 million. So that's kind of where I am with this block dag. I personally wouldn't get involved in this project. Why get involved in it when you can get in other projects which are better than this, are going to be better than this? Um, I just don't believe this block dag is going to be up there. Anthony Turner says, yeah, we're going to make a project which is everyone's going to be proud of and all of that kind of thing. But I think there's just other projects out there which are going to be better than this. So why put your money in this where you're not going to see a return until 2028, and they can just use this money to invest in whatever they want to do, and take the profits from that if they want to do that. Although I'm pretty sure that's probably an illegal thing to do. But who's gonna know? Who's gonna find out? Who's gonna prosecute them? Because this kind of thing just seems to people just seems to get away with this kind of thing all the time. So that's what I think of this Blockdag AMA. Let me know in the comments what you think, and see you later. Hope you didn't watch it all like I did and were bored to tears of it all.